crummy sleep is one of the key issues that will make everything else start to fall apart. Like it's usually the first symptom to actually go offline when stress is too high, when hormones start shifting, when blood sugar becomes unstable. It starts with sleep because sleep is where our hormones reset. Hey there, sister. Welcome back to the pod. If you've been listening for a while, thank you so much. And I am so glad that you are here. If you are new, welcome. I'm Bria Gadd, aka the Period Whisperer, because as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, certified personal trainer, and someone just obsessed with women's health and hormones, the entire goal of this podcast is to help you better understand the whispers and messages of your body before they turn into screens. And if they have turned into screens, to give you the strategies to help yourself and some clear direction to go in. Because in my experience, we have been sold a bit of a bunk lie as women that many symptoms are because of our sex hormones. And sometimes that's true, but often it's not because of our sex hormones. So I really want you to understand the difference between this and in your own body so that you have answers, so that you have clarity, so that it's not overwhelming and confusing. Now, I have to ask you, how are you feeling in your body today? Are you feeling tired? Let me guess. Maybe you're doing everything right, but you're still lying awake at night or waking up at 2 to 3 a.m. wide-eyed, brain fully awake. Or maybe you're sleeping, but you wake up exhausted like the sleep didn't even happen for you, like you didn't even do it. And somewhere along the way, maybe someone told you, it's just stress. It's normal at this age. This is just perimenopause. Welcome. But today I really want to reframe that entire conversation because sleep doesn't break randomly. Sleep breaks for a reason. And when it does, it's your body trying to tell you something very, very specific. So listen, March here on the Period Whisperer podcast is officially all things sleep because crummy sleep is one of the key issues that will make everything else start to fall apart. And it's really evasive, right? For many of us, the more you try to control sleep, it's like trying to squeeze water in your hands or trying to squeeze sand. It just slips through your fingers. So over the next 4 episodes, we are going to talk about why sleep changes in perimenopause and menopause, what's normal, what's not normal, so that you understand, why powering through can actually make it worse, and how to actually get answers instead of guessing. And I want you to know this up front. This is not going to be another try magnesium and turn off your phone at night series. We're going to go way, way, way deeper than that. For me, sleep is one of the areas in my life I cannot push through. Like when my health and body started to fall apart at 37, it was sleep that honestly finally broke me. I used to call sleep my superpower. Like I could sleep anytime, any place, anywhere. And when I started to wake up every night in a sweat at like 2-ish a.m., heart racing, unable to fall back asleep, surviving on maybe 4 hours, 5 if I was lucky, not only did my physical health start to suffer, but like my mental health really started to suffer in like an escalation kind of way. I just felt like I was losing it, like I was falling apart. And likewise, I've seen in my clients with sleep issues, it can be one of the most challenging pieces to fix for a few reasons. But I would say the biggest reason, I believe, is because an unsafe body can't sleep. Like think about if you were on a deserted island or somewhere that you really didn't feel very safe. Would you sleep? No. You may fall asleep because you're exhausted after a few days, but you wouldn't stay there, right? You would wake to every single sound. And that's a safety mechanism of your brain and your body to keep you safe. And just like animals or children who've lived in a very stressful, unsafe environment, safety and trust takes time and is earned. It's not like, I feel better today, so I'm just going to sleep. It's usually a much lengthier trust problem that we have to start to build. So that's why it can feel very frustrating. And I feel like sleep is the canary in the coal mine of women's health. Like it's usually the first system to actually go offline when stress is too high, when hormones start shifting, when blood sugar becomes unstable, when the nervous system can't downshift anymore because it's just reached this heightened element where it doesn't believe it can turn off. And your body doesn't start with weight gain, right? It doesn't start with burnout. It starts with sleep, because sleep is where our hormones reset. It's where our cortisol comes down. It's where our blood sugars stabilize, and where your brain and nervous system recover. So when sleep breaks, like, it's not a flaw, it's actually feedback. And we gotta really, really listen to it. And I think take it super seriously, because if you've ever struggled with insomnia, if you've ever struggled with sleep issues, you know it is rough. I always remember my mom saying to me when I had babies, like, if you can at least just get a good night's sleep, it will be okay. And I had one baby that was such a good sleeper and one that was not. And it took a long time to feel normal again when he finally started sleeping through the night. So let's talk about what's normal versus what's not normal. And I really want to clear something up here, because there are some normal sleep changes in perimenopause and menopause. For example, progesterone starts declining earlier than estrogen, and progesterone is calming, it's sleep supportive. That's why when women who are dealing with low progesterone, when they take progesterone, it often can really help with sleep. But falling asleep can be harder. That part can be normal. But if that was it, then we could take progesterone and that would be it, right? But for so many women, they're taking that progesterone and they're not getting that experience of better sleep. Because here's what's not normal: waking up at 2 to 4 a.m. every night, not normal. That's what was happening to me. Night sweat soaking the sheets, I can also raise my hand on that one, also not normal. Racing thoughts when your body is exhausted, like when you know you are tired and you just, like, you're almost like your eyes are burning tired, but you cannot seem to settle down. When you're feeling like you're hovering, right, in that light sleep all night, when you feel more tired after sleeping, or when you feel like you need caffeine to function at all, these aren't just your sex hormones. These are patterns, right? And let's talk about the different ways sleep breaks, because I think this matters. So let's start with that one that we talked about: trouble falling asleep, which again is often tied to low progesterone for women in this age box, but it's also really tied to high cortisol at night, right? If we need to, like, if I know, for me, if I have a stressful situation with kids or with work that comes up last minute, this is why I don't like to check my emails at night, or, an argument with someone at night, or maybe I'm watching a stressful show at night and that cortisol is up, then it cannot start to come down because it just got jacked up in an inappropriate time, right? Our cortisol should lower at night. Otherwise, it's called cortisol dysregulation. And it needs to come down in order for melatonin to come up, which is really one of our sleep integrity hormones. It not only helps us fall asleep, but it also helps us have a deeper, more restorative sleep. So it can also be because of a nervous system that won't shut off. So if you, of course, have been in long-term stress, which I see so often with my clients, we get a bit stuck up there because it's just been too long. And now other systems have paid the price for the body being under stress that long. And now there's more stress coming from inside of our body. And I want to be clear about this, because I think we often think of stress and we think of it outside of us, right? Financial stress, relationship stress, the stress in the world that we see every day in our social media. But a lot of stress comes from within us, right? Gut issues. We're not breaking down, absorbing nutrients. Our hormones are fluctuating. Our immune system isn't doing the best. We have, environmental toxin exposure, a congested liver. This is stress inside of our body. Likewise, the food we eat causes stress inside of our body. So when our nervous system won't shut off, this is when we will often have trouble falling asleep. Now, if you are waking between 2 and 4 a.m., this is a classic sign of cortisol dysregulation. I was just telling you about how our cortisol should lower at night. Again, what we should see in a healthy cortisol rhythm, and I see this on Dutch patterns and Dutch labs that I run for my clients all the time, we should have a nice rise within 2 hours of waking, and then we should see a nice drop kind of in the afternoon, and then a steady decline at night. We can very easily measure in urine, not just your free cortisol, what's available for the day, but what your body is actually metabolizing through. And that's an important measurement because sometimes we can look like we have enough cortisol, like when we measure in blood or saliva, but or it can look like we don't have any. But what matters most is what's clearing and that pattern. That's what's going to determine how we're feeling and the root cause of where we want to start. So cortisol dysregulation is one. Blood sugar crashes is a huge one. When our blood sugar crashes, if there is no glucose in the system, then the brain will call on cortisol and adrenaline to do the job that it needs glucose for in the night. And this starts to happen typically during like our deep kind of restorative time of 2 to 4 a.m. And then cortisol comes in, we are awake, and then you're racing and you can't get back to sleep. So it can be normal to wake up and have to pee once a night, but if you can't get back to sleep, that's a bigger, deeper issue we want to look at. It can also be a sign of liver and detox load, right? So 2 to 4 a.m. is when our liver does its natural kind of self-clean like an oven. And if it's congested, that can drive up cortisol at that time. And it can be a big sign of gut-driven inflammation in the body. A lot of us know when we have gut issues, right? We understand because we're bloated, maybe we're constipated, maybe we have gas or reflux, or maybe you have diarrhea. So that can feel obvious. But for a lot of women that I work with who actually have parasites, they don't have those issues. They have a very depleted gut and very taxed adrenals. So their sleep is impacted, but they're not having digestive issues. Now, what about if you have light or non-restorative sleep? This is usually connected to mineral depletion. Listen, where does mineral depletion even come from? One, it comes from our world these days, right? Our soil is depleted, our water is polluted, so we filter it, so we don't have the same minerals. It comes from stress. Whenever we're going through stressful situations inside our body, outside of our body, we're burning through those minerals, using more and more of them. So if we're not replenishing them in a different, unique way to us, then we are going to run out very, very quickly. This usually, that light non-restorative sleep can be really linked to chronic stress, which maybe you can recognize or maybe you can't. I have found that a lot of women that I work with are really, really good at feeling like, I'm not stressed, I can handle it, like putting on these little blinders. But it doesn't mean your body's not experiencing it. It just means you become very, very good at blocking yourself from feeling it, which is why we need to get into the body. I find those women are the ones that really avoid stillness. Overproductivity is their favorite way to calm themselves. And that is often the type of person I see who struggles with this never getting deep, never getting deep, never getting restorative sleep. So different sleep issues equal different root causes, which is why generic advice just doesn't work, right? For some people, you might be able to try a sleep supplement and maybe it works for you, but it's kind of like shooting, like shooting in the dark. You don't really know what the right reason is. So if you want to take that risk, spend that money and try it and see if it works for you, wonderful. But if it doesn't, what do you do? It's time to dig deeper. Now, I probably don't need to tell you this, but let's talk about the costs of poor sleep, because this is the part that not everyone connects back to sleep, because poor sleep has a massive impact on weight gain and fat storage, right? Sleep is when our body rests, recovers, and burns fat. So the workout you're doing in the day, the good nutrition that you're eating, it all comes together at night when you sleep. This is when sleep also impacts blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. Like, I don't know about you, but if you have a crummy night's sleep, I know I am hungry all day. It's like I can't satiate myself. My brain is constantly looking for energy somewhere because it didn't get what it needed the night before. Same with mood and emotion regulation, right? If you feel like you can't handle things, you're not steady anymore, and you think about, oh, I haven't had a really good night's sleep in a while. I mean, we seem to recognize this in our children, but we don't always recognize this in ourselves. I know when my kids feel a little off, my question is, how did you sleep last night? Have you eaten something today? Right? We have to ask ourselves these same questions. Things like decision making, stress tolerance, right? How patient you are with your kids, your partner, yourself, how quickly your brain can fire in an important situation in life at work. Like sleep loss doesn't just make you tired, it makes everything harder. And then often I find women, we blame ourselves for this when really we just need a good quality night's sleep. In fact, we need probably 30 of them. And to get there, we have to start asking why. Why am I here? Why does my body not feel safe? Now, let's have an honest moment. There are things we know mess with sleep, and we do them anyway, right? I don't know about you, but I have a lot of clients who sleep with their pets in their bed and the pets move and it wakes them up. Their pets snore and it wakes them up. Maybe we have partners that snore and we don't leave the room to go sleep somewhere else, or we don't kick them out, which can be problematic. Maybe we have late night heart to hearts with our kids. Maybe we do doom scrolling because you just need some time to relax. You didn't get any downtime before you went to bed. Maybe you are overtraining, overworking out your body because it helps with stress until it doesn't. This is a really tricky one. I work with a lot of women because my background's in fitness and because this is something that I used to do all the time. Fitness was my stress management. And although, yes, it can help manage our stress, it also adds its own stress load to the body. So it's not really a safe, smart, effective way to manage our stress. We have to find other alternatives to fitness in order to manage our stress because inevitably that's going to run out for us. And for a lot of women, it has. It ran out for me at 37. I could no longer use fitness as my stress management tool. And listen, there's no judgment here. If these are you, if you're saying, oops, yeah, that's me. Oops, yeah, that's me. And I have tons of clients and I have these issues in my life as well. But here's what you need to know. When sleep is already fragile, it's really important to be real with ourselves that these things become amplifiers. So here's the reframe I want you to take with you. If sleep is the first thing to go, the question isn't, how do I sleep better? The real question is, what is my body responding to? Because your body's not broken, right? It's responding intelligently to its environment. It's trying to keep you safe. We'll get into more of this throughout the month of March in this sleep series. But if you're listening right now and you're holding space for quality sleep and it's not happening, this is where functional testing changes everything. Not because we're looking for for if there's anything wrong with you, but because we're looking for your pattern. Where does this come from? Even though most women I talk to in midlife definitely have too much stress in all areas, inside and out, as the reason, where that stress is coming from, the genetic component behind it, how long it's been going on for, how we can mitigate that, what their lifestyle is like. All of this stuff is different and unique to you. So we need to look for your pattern. And in my practice as a functional practitioner with my clients, I use testing like GI map testing to see if your gut inflammation, parasites, or infections are what's driving night waking. Or a Dutch test, a dried urine test for comprehensive hormones, to look at cortisol rhythm and sex hormones and liver function and methylation, right? All areas that can start to impact a stress in our body inside. I also love to do mineral testing to understand nervous system resiliency. These tests don't give generic answers, they give your answers. And this is why I love being able to work with women all over the world. Your body, your health, it's like a puzzle, right? Functional lab work really helps us locate and see all of the pieces so we can put it together, you and I. So if sleep is slipping, don't wait, sister, until everything else follows. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to push yourself harder. You don't need to accept this as your new normal. You need clarity. So if you're ready to stop guessing and actually understand what your body is responding to, this is your moment. If you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this is me. I can't imagine functioning another day. I don't know how I'm keeping it together. I'm losing it on my kids. Book a free discovery call. You can do that by just going to the link in the show notes, swipe up. We will talk through testing, what makes sense for you, what the next step could look like. And because of that, we'll get answers for you, of course. And Either way, if that's not you, if you're not sure, if you are struggling with that, make sure you come back next week because we're going to talk about what it really means to be tired and wired and why sleep doesn't always mean recovery. Your sleep is talking to you, sister. This month, we are finally going to listen. So take a breath. Take one small action for you today and for your health so that you can be more in your life and not just less on a scale. See you in the next episode for more sleep help. Let's do this. If you're 35 plus and ready to stop guessing, start understanding your hormones, and feel your absolute best, hit subscribe. That's what we do here.